if you don't let go, there's no brain capacity, there's no space up here to be immersed in your literature, to be immersed in collecting your data, to be immersed in writing up your findings, because you're thinking about all the things you didn't do. You have to identify the obstacle, because if you don't, you'll continuously run into it. And I know for a lot of us who are in these doctoral programs, we are, oftentimes first generation, haven't been through this experience, navigating these things. And I'd always just say, like, there's going to be a solution. Happy 2025. Can you believe we're already in the new year? Time is just flying by. And I'm sure for some of you who are watching, you might be feeling, I could have taken more advantage of 2024. I know for a lot of students, we've been hearing from folks recently over the last month or two, as we're approaching the new year, just saying how regretful they were that they didn't achieve the milestones that they wanted to in 2024. Some of the words that we kept hearing that were used were, I'm doubtful about finishing. I regret I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I'm lacking the confidence to get to where I want to go. And because of that, I know that is a serious challenge. And I want to make sure that as we are kicking off 2025, that you have the insights that you need to take most advantage of this year so that you can finish your dissertation. So, on this episode of From ABD to PhD show, we're going to focus on breaking through dissertation doubts, how to stay motivated in 2025. And for those of you just tuning in, my name is Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, and our goal is to help demystify the dissertation process so that you, the doctoral student, can write and defend your dissertation in 1 year or less. Today's episode is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Coaching Program, which is put in place to help you take the confusion out of the dissertation process so that you get the community, the coaching, the feedback on your written work, the support that you need to finish. So if you're interested in learning more and scheduling a complimentary consultation, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com, or you can scan the QR code that is here on your screen. And with that said, I want to say thank you all so much for watching this episode. I'm so looking forward to getting into this material because it's really important when we're thinking about breaking through the dissertation process and particularly breaking through the doubts that we have. And I want to give you some strategies, and three in particular, that will help you stay motivated in 2025. So, the first strategy that will allow you to break through the dissertation doubts is the fact that you are going to let go of 2024. And look, I know that is a hard one to accomplish, right? Letting go. Like, Dr. Goins, what are you talking about? I've been going through all of these things. It's hard for me to let go, but trust me, there is no way that you are going to finish this process if you don't let go of the past. Because what ends up happening when we stay stagnant and we stay stuck so long in the past, what ends up happening, we just relive old tales. We relive, like, oh, I didn't get that writing done. Oh, I scheduled 5 minute or 5 days a week for my writing time, but I only got 5 minutes in every day. Like, putting all these expectations on yourself because you thought that was going to happen last year, and you're showing up right now and watching this because you want to finish now and finish quickly. Because one thing I know about folks that work with us and watch our content is that you all are motivated to finish your dissertations quickly. You don't want to be in these programs forever. But it's so important to let go of that past. It's almost like, think about it, if you're walking around. I remember I used to do this. I was a basketball player in college, and so sometimes even in high school we would do this thing where sometimes we would walk around like a weight vest on, just to have more weight, to just see when we took it off how much faster we would move. And so sometimes a lot of folks have gone into 2025, this new year, with the weight on from 2024. And trust me, it will deplete your energy. It will drain you if you don't let it go. And so what you're going to have to do is let go and essentially take off that vest. And that vest is the baggage, the luggage from 2024, the regret of not finishing, the guilt for not finishing, being tired of answering the question, are you done writing that book yet? Like, trust me, I know all the things. When you hear those questions, especially during the holiday time, you hear it over and over again. You're like, oh my God, when am I going to finish? And so you're going to have to let go of those thoughts if you want to be able and be present in your dissertation process. Because what we've learned from helping so many folks is that if you don't let go, there's no brain capacity, there's no space up here to be immersed in your literature, to be immersed in collecting your data, to be immersed in writing up your findings, because you're thinking about all the things you didn't do. I want you to let those things go. And I hope this episode of this From ABD to PhD show is giving you the permission to let go of the past so that you can situate yourself and say, you know what? I know I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. That's cool. I'm not where I want to be quite yet, but I'm going to do what it takes to get to that next level. I promise you, when you start making that shift and you recognize and make that change, it will make your life so much easier, and you will essentially have a weight lift off of you once you let go of the past, because that is step one if you are going to break through the dissertation struggles that you've had so far. And so, again, when you think about this, we have to let go of 2024. However, letting go is just one step in the process. So, step two, in order to break through the dissertation doubts that you might have, is that you're going to have to understand the obstacles you're facing. Understanding the obstacles is very important, because once you let go of the past, it's now like looking at the present. What obstacles do I have in my way currently? But if you don't know what they are, you will keep continuing to have the same result and possibly being stuck where you have been before. And so when we're thinking about obstacles, there are a number of different types of obstacles. I'm going to give you some examples. Some obstacles deal with life. Look, we've had folks, one of our clients, shout out to you, who's getting ready to defend their dissertation proposal at the time of this recording, recently had COVID, life struggles, health challenges, like all these things happen, right? That will be part of sometimes the obstacle that you're experiencing. It might be a health challenge, it might be a mental health challenge. We're working with a lot more students. We're hearing stuff from a lot more students across the country, is that a lot of students are being diagnosed with ADHD or have had ADHD or even being diagnosed in their doctoral program. So we're dealing with trying to create structures and create systems that help us succeed. So again, we might have life, in personal challenges that happen. Some of the challenges that you might also experience might be related to work. Maybe your job is requiring so much of you, where you don't have the mental capacity to dedicate to your dissertation. That is stuff that happens quite often, and it's sometimes we don't think about it or consider it until it's too late in our journey in order to finish the dissertation. So it could be work. So sometimes we have to create and think about, is it a work challenge? Because again, we can figure that out. And then also, is it a education school related challenge? Some of those challenges might be improving your academic writing. Some challenge we see folks experiencing is like, my dissertation chair left, so I got to figure that out. Or I have committee members that have gone rogue. I don't hear from them, or I don't hear from my chair. Lack of feedback. Those are obstacles that you might be facing in your current context, right? And so you have to be able to identify what those are, because there's nothing that you can do worse is that letting go of the past, so that and then setting yourself up for the present, and then not knowing what obstacles in your way. It's almost like, driving to a destination you've never been before, and you don't have any GPS help, whether that's a map, old school, how I used to do it when I was a kid, or even now you have your phone and then you have, your Google Maps or your Apple Maps, whatever you're using, Waze, right? Sometimes we're going to places, if we don't know, we got to have a guide of some sort to get there. But in order to do that, you have to understand the obstacles. I know for me, recently I took a drive to a conference, and total trip was about 4.5, 5 hours. And had I not had the GPS, we would not have avoided some of the accidents right on the highway. Going around the accident saved us time to getting to our destination. The same analogy applies when you're writing your dissertation. You have to identify the obstacle, because if you don't, you'll continuously run into it, and then you'll be wondering why things go wrong. So this is really important. If you haven't identified them, what I want you to do today, because of this video, you can pause it right now, or even as I'm talking, I want you to take your notebook out. I think this is a great exercise to do, even writing it out. I mean, it's cool if you want to use your phone and stuff, but I want to see if you write this out and like just jot down, what are those obstacles that you are currently facing? Because I'm going to talk about in step 3 what we can do now once we have identified those problems and those obstacles. But first, if you don't know what they are, you can't address anything. So that's going to be important. That's going to be the second step if we're trying to break through dissertation doubt and staying motivated for 2025, is that we're going to have to understand the obstacles that we are facing. In your case, you're facing with your dissertation. Now, once we understand the obstacles, if we're trying to get rid of our dissertation doubt and staying motivated, the third component of this, in what you're going to have to do, is actually become solution oriented. Becoming solution oriented is the step that you're going to have to do to take it to another level. And I would even add, with being solution oriented, we have to be solution oriented and then execution oriented. Because sometimes we can create a solution for a problem, but we don't execute what the solution is. And so again, once you identify the barrier, now it's like creating the solution to it. So let's give you an example. Let's say childcare was a barrier, right? And an obstacle that you're facing, because you might say, every time I'm going to write, I either feel guilty because I'm not spending time with my family and children, or I need the mental capacity to write, but when I'm in the home environment, just because the kids are asking me to do stuff, I just don't have the time and energy to do it. So that might be our obstacle that we're facing, right? So then our solution might be, oh, can we reach out to family to tell them what's going on? So maybe we can get a relative to come by for 2 hours, every Saturday and Sunday, to help with the kids or watch the kids when you go to the library. It might be looking into babysitting services, like care.com or some other things like that. I know folks have used them. I've used them. Everybody needs help, right? Or having a trusted colleague. Sometimes you may be able to swap, like, hey, a classmate, you got kids, I got kids. Maybe one day I drop them off with you so I can write. And then the other time you drop yours off with me so you can write. Like, you can figure out some ways to barter and get support that you need. But you have to first identify the obstacle, but then being solution oriented, you will figure out a way. And I know for a lot of us who are in these doctoral programs, we are, oftentimes first generation, haven't been through this experience, navigating these things. And I'd always just say, like, there's going to be a solution for sure. And we can get inventive. I think one of the things I knew growing up poor was that one thing I learned how to do is become very inventive with things in terms of how to get a need met. And so sometimes we have to think about, what is it that we need? What's the obstacle in our way? What do we need for it? And then reaching out to the people who could provide the service, the support to solve that particular challenge. And then with that, we have to be execution oriented. There's nothing worse than doing all three of those steps and then leaving the ball short where, oh, I have this plan, but then, I say I'm going to reach out to relatives to get help in our case of the child care, but you never do it. That is worse than having no plan. Is to create a plan, don't use it, because you're actually sabotaging your own process. And we see it over and over again with students. Sometimes they reach out to us for help, right? And so a lot of times getting help is a solution to your dissertation process. And so we have a lot of folks who end up reaching out to us to be in the Done Dissertation Velocity coaching program. We meet with them, we tell them about the program, we tell them about the monetary investment, because there is an investment, not only of time, because you need to write and do the things you need to do for your dissertation, but there's a monetary investment in our program. And then when they hear about the investment, like, ooh, I don't know. But then the thing that is worse is that they don't have a plan moving forward, so they just stay stuck. And sometimes we found that staying stuck is a choice that people make as well. And I don't want that for you, especially if you're watching this video still at the about 11-minute mark right now. Like, I want you to really get the things that you want out of your doctoral program. And you investing time to actually watch this content is showing you should show yourself that you are moving in the right direction. But sometimes you're going to need help with that, challenge that you're experiencing. And that's why we have our velocity coaching program with the goal to help you do that. So there's no need for folks to kind of spin and twirl around and around with their dissertations when you can go get help, at least to explore the option. And we always say this. And when you meet Renee, if you decide to apply and get a consultation, when you talk with Renee, she will always tell you, look, we want you to make the best decision for you, whether it's with us or not. We care less, because we want people to win, regardless if it's with us. We would love for you to be with us, but we know that we may not be the best fit for you, and you might not be the best fit for us, right? And so we just want you all to win. And there's, again, nothing worse than not having a plan to execute. This is why we put together the Velocity Coaching Program, because I wanted to take out the guesswork of the whole process so that you can zero in and know exactly what you want to do. Because again, we heard from a client we were talking with on one of our follow-up coaching calls. So we follow up each month with our clients. And so we were talking with one of them in the program currently, and they were talking about how they were stuck in their literature review. And when Renee was like breaking things down, we were chatting with them, Renee was explaining that, oh, it seems like you're stuck. And it would be a loaded question for her to have asked the client, what are your questions about the literature review? If you've written a literature review before, there's so many types of questions that might pop up, from how much literature is too much. How should I write this up? Do I need to provide, how long does it have to be? There's so many questions that could arise. And so we're like, no, we won't ask you that question, but we try to give her a solution in order to do something with the confusion so that the person can move forward. And so what we suggested was like, oh, hey, because you're stuck, and we know that asking a loaded question about what you're stuck could be challenging, go through and look at what you've written previously. And as you're going through it, write down the thoughts and the comments and the questions that come up as you're reading the document, because those are the things that you can bring to our coaching call each week for us to help you process. That is part of the work of working with a coach that will really help mold and guide you based on the things that are happening within your program and within your dissertation process. Because some of y'all might need that extra help, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I know some of us may consider like, oh, I shouldn't get help. I feel bad about it, but there is nothing wrong. Again, being solution oriented will get you to where you want to go. And with that said, if you need that help, make sure that you can scan the QR code that is here on your screen, or you can learn more about our Velocity coaching program and schedule a complimentary consultation at www.velocitydissertation.com. And then, real quick, before we wrap up today's episode, I want to say thank you so much for everybody. We hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm extremely happy. Thank you all so much for hitting that like and subscribe button on YouTube. And I should say 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not a subscriber currently, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can see when new episodes come out of this each week. And be on the lookout because we have a new book that I'm getting ready to release, but it's not necessarily for students this time because we hear from so many students that they have challenges with their faculty. And we know that chairing is such needed support, but it's often not taught, that I decided to write a book, and I was coaching with faculty on how they can write their and help support you all writing the dissertation. And so the book is called The Finish System, a dissertation chair's guide to supporting doctoral students from start to defense. I'll show you all the title on a bigger screen so you can see it here. But I wanted to provide a way for you all to actually get through the process from the perspective of your dissertation chair. And so this book is for faculty, but what I would love for you all to do, if you can share this information with faculty, because you all watching this content and I want to be able to talk to the faculty, if you can share this with them, if you've gotten value out of this, know that we're going to provide the same value to your faculty. So please feel free to share information about the book. And again, you can scan the QR code or you can go to www.thedonedissertation.com/finish. And I promise you, once you see it on our website, you will be able to immediately click and grab your pre-order of the copy. But again, I want to say thank you so much for supporting us and for listening to today's episode, because I don't want you to be sitting in that doubt that you're not going to finish your dissertation, because we want you to break through those dissertation doubts. And today's episode is one way to stay motivated to finishing in 2025. And if you have liked this, please share this with a friend or two that you think can provide value. And then again, I really appreciate your time. And my name is Dr. Ramon Goings. I'm founder of Done Dissertation and host of From ABD to PhD show. And until next time, I wish you all a Done Dissertation.